NBC4 News at noon starts now.
And you know, it is the novel that sparked, let's just say, a new reading new interest in reading.
Yes.
See, I got it backwards because I'm all confuzzled with this one. Already, 50 Shades of Grey has done a lot more than inspire a spike in e-reader sales. It and other novels like it may be changing how modern couples relate.
Yep, and it's just one of the topics we're going to discuss with Dr. Nikki Goldstein, who is a sexologist, not to be confused with a sex therapist. And
what exactly is a sexologist?
Okay, we'll start with that.
Sexology is a scientific study of sex. So I suppose you need to think of me as a sex researcher. So I enjoy doing the educational work. I enjoy...
Byron does too, by the way.
You can be my assistant. But I enjoy getting the messages out there and starting the dialogue going.
So on a serious level, 50 Shades of Grey, big deal. I never read it, but people loved it, and there are all sorts of spoofs and parodies. What has that done to... I don't know, is there a new sexual revolution in America now as a result of this book?
Well, I think there's a new sexual revolution worldwide. I mean, especially in Australia, it has dominated our media and still is. And it is one of those things that we're talking about really taboo subjects in the mainstream public. So people are starting to feel that they can explore their sexuality a little bit more publicly. And we can see with things like sex toy sales, they've tripled since the book came out. So people are starting to go, well, maybe there's something more that we can be doing in the bedroom. And it's also the book's being used as a tool. So, you know, how did you start those conversations before? It was really awkward. Now we can kind of say, well, I read 50 Shades of Grey and they mentioned something. Honey, maybe we should have a look at that. So it's really being used as a communication tool within the relationship.
It's interesting because it seems like we do this every 10 years or so. You know, it's like, oh, we're suddenly talking about it again. Oh, we're suddenly, because Sex and the City did that, when it, you know, as far as television shows. Back in the 70s, there was a book called The Joy of Sex. That was a big deal thing. And so, you know, it's nothing new. It's just kind of a new way to introduce a way to talk, I guess.
And I think this has really, you know, put down a lot of boundaries, or, you know, bashed down a lot of boundaries. And I think the exciting thing is going to be what's going to happen after 50 Shades of Grey. Because if we look at The Joy of Sex and then we look at Sex and the City and now 50 Shades, we're getting more risque and more taboo. So the exciting thing now is, well, what's going to be the next 50 Shades of Grey, and how is that going to impact onto people's relationships?
You talk about the alpha female. What's the role of women in this new revolution?
Well, I think alpha females are really taking back their control. You know, we've been given all these opportunities, and now we want to succeed. And especially in Australia, we're seeing these women who are conquering the professional world. They're having their babies and they're going back to work, you know, within a very short period, because they want to have their family life, they want to have their career. And I think it's very competitive, and I think women need to, you know, support each other and help each other out, because there really is that fight for survival now. We want to prove that we can be just as good as men.
You know, I sit back and I look like at Margaret Thatcher, at Madeleine Albright, at Condoleezza Rice, and these are women who have, you know, shattered the glass ceiling years ago. So it's just kind of perpetuating what was already started.
Well, I think, you know, people like that have given us the opportunity to say, this is what you can do. Right. You know, here's an opportunity. You can go out there and be someone powerful. And I think, you know, more and more women, and with the thanks to social media, we can see what other women are doing. So it's giving us more of that taste that we have that drive. You know, we can see that it's possible. So we want to go out there and do something amazing, which all women should.
And speaking of social media, we got to be careful. You know, you don't want to get those pictures out to the wrong places. But that's a different subject. Dr. Nikki Goldstein, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
And we are back in a moment.